Hey everyone, it's been 4 weeks since I recorded anything, and unfortunately, these 4 weeks they were really hard. Um, yeah, 2 weeks were really bad, and then 2 weeks I like kind of uh returned back to my normal trading, and the reasons for that first is that I underestimated or overestimated the level at which I am in terms of resolving mental issues I have as a trader. Um, and I didn't prepared enough. I didn't do deep enough work, which, by the way, I'm doing right now, and which I will share in the section on Patreon and on YouTube as mental workout. Because I understood that the same way we have technical system, we need in the same way to have a mental system, a mental edge. And there are a lot of things going on in our heads, and unfortunately, I kind of realized, but at the same time didn't realize some important moments, some important nuances I have in my mental edge, okay? And I didn't work enough on them. So please refer to mental edge section and videos about it, which you'll find on YouTube. And again, they will be duplicated to mental edge section. But in short, my old patterns, which I had maybe for 2 or 3 years already, which is a mix of fear of failure, maybe tilt, over risking, and so on. Um, when things are going good, hormones and your whole self, your whole body is telling you that everything is fine and nothing now, it all change and nothing is going to happen because you have this. It just it's just physical. You have this just belief that now it's over and you've managed all your situation, but it's not objective. And when you forget that you can be overexcited and it can be subtle, so overexcitement and overconfidence can be hard to spot sometimes, and then a moment comes and you have a loser, and now you have this contrast of emotions, and it hurts so much that you can easily lose control for some time, and your old patterns can come back in a minute, in an hour. So that's why I decided to have a much deeper work on everything. Yeah. And what did it cost me? So first of all, unfortunately, I lost my smaller account, which was first funded account I had. And then I almost lost this bigger account I was talking about in the previous video. So it is still going. I made some profit back. Yeah. And I want to believe, and I believe that now it will be better. Then, and this drawdown, both emotional and in money equivalent, was really long. So usually when it happened, maybe I had it for 2-3 days, and then I just realized I need to stop, and then I restart from the next week. But now it took maybe 2 weeks just of this bad situation. Then third week was kind of like transitional, and then fourth week was a usual week I usually have in a good state. So overall, really tough period, really hard experience, but it made me to revise how I look at my head and what I'm doing. And now I'm really working thoroughly and deeply on the mental edge I have. Okay. Yeah, it is what it is. So This like was like totally catastrophic week, like week 1. Maybe week 1 was more or less fine. Then week 2 was like real catastrophic with blocks of or 3. Sorry, so 3 weeks, like 3 weeks were real bad. So with these blocks of over risking, so some winners on the way, but not too much. And again, by the way, if I would keep my usual risk management, it would be really not so catastrophic. But and you see, you don't need to over risk too much. I over risked like 0 0.3, 0 0.4, 0 0.5 in one block, and like these I lost like 2%, you know. And yeah, on a funded account you can't lose too much. Then you have so this week was transitional. It has a lot of losers, but at the same time it has like 1 5-hour winner, second, third, fourth, 5 6 5-hour winners, so 30 hour balanced with losers. And this week is actually profitable, like 3 hour profit. What else? I changed management a bit to 5R, so 5R fixed. Why I did it? I recalculated what I have, and really 7-8R is the most profitable way for me. However, 7 or 8R gives me lower win rate, and I understood that I want to have a bit higher win rate, you know, to have winners more regularly. Then maybe after the next 200 trades I will revise as well, but yeah. And so much was happening, but common was like really bad emotions and lower quality setups. Yeah, and then this week, so this last week is just usual week, as you can see. So loser, 2 winners for 10R overall, and then loser and half loser, so overall like 5-6R on the week. And finally balanced my emotions. Yeah, so I will go now technically through this last week, and then we will move on from here. I also added this field, like again, instead of just commenting, I have this what is needed for A or A plus setup. So for instance, if I'm entering B quality setup, then what do I need to make it A or A plus? And basically that's all. Also in my journal I worked even in more details about what is B minus for me, what is B, what is A quality. I also worked on when will I stop for the day. So let me quickly show you. Like previously I had only like 3 losers and that's all, but now I give myself more room intentionally. So for instance, I have no more than 3 entries in the same confirmation zone. I have different risk now, so I can risk less for lower quality setups and more for higher quality setups. And also now I have stoppage for the day if 3 losses are of B minus quality. Okay, so that because when tilt for me is happening is that when I start to trade lower quality setups or I'm over risking, and so that's why the second rule is when I have 3 losses with risk of more than 1.5 compared with the plan. So for instance, if I have 3 losses of 0.75%, okay, or something like that, and then if 1% loss is reached or any other limit I planned before trading. So I have 3 rules now for stopping. They provide me more rules. Yeah. And first trade we will review will be USD/CHF. So what we have here is an overall on monthly. So this monthly overall market that is just clearly moving down, and that's all. Recent moves down were from here structurally. maybe some redistribution here, and then just a long range with this recent move to the downside. And basically that's all we have from monthly. On weekly we have obvious down moving leg with just the usual structural moves to the downside, like 3 breaks to the downside, and that's all. If you want, you can look at like this as a distribution inside this bigger range, and so on and so on. But overall, just a down move. And recently we made a down move as well, and then a pullback on the weekly. On daily, clear bearish structure with redistributions here, and recently shifted to the downside once or twice, depending on how you want to see the structure. On 4 hours, so the entry point was here. On 4 hours, what we had is again a sustained down movement. Of course, the biggest argument against this trade is relative overextension of this leg, but we already had some pullback to the upside and recently broke to the downside, so these lows were really good target, you know, to make one more move to the downside. And then main main structural bias was based on 1 hour. It is like really clean. So again, we have a downtrend into redistribution here. So down, up, and then starting to move down again. So this is at this point, because of these moves, is confirmed redistribution. Okay. And we have some clean zones here, like this one, Chain of supply and demand is represented by mitigation of bigger zones. So we are not mitigating refined zones, but as you can see, we are mitigating bigger zones like this. So this move mitigating this move mitigating this move mitigated this bigger zone without mitigation of everything, which we don't need to see. And then we had this break and mitigation of a refined zone, and then on lower time frames, so let's go here. So on lower time frames we had basically the same, just confirmed down moves, just basic ranges, clear zones. So absolute confluence of ranges, and also we have some fundamentals aligned with it, because US is probably posing rate hikes, interest rate hikes, and because of that, now the dollar is not so bullish. And in addition, the economic data that was appearing during the week was also bearish for the dollar. And what we have from the entry standpoint is a market that is recently moving in a bullish environment, and I mean this part, because if we only look at this part as such, then we have bullish reaccumulation, bullish reaccumulation. And at this point, this entry could be considered somewhat early, but again, when USD/CHF is moving, it can make like impulsive moves. So because we have a deep mitigation of a zone on 1 hour, on 15 minutes, I was okay with taking an entry from this clear internal shift of structure, from this one. So we have this overextension, but again, the underlying bias is really bearish. So that's why, based on these internal shifts, I was entering here, had initial drawdown, and then market broke to the downside. Somewhere around here I went to break even, so didn't, and then just I was waiting for either 5R or a break even, and this was one of the real nice trades. So this was this trade. So next trade was on GBP USD. and it was basically a technical mistake, because what we have here is just a usual bullish market which performed so this daily chart performed reaccumulation, as you can see, and then started to move bullish, confirming bullishness, and now moved into the last unmitigated zone. So this is of course a really bullish area, but what I was doing is following this pullback which we have here, and basically entered here. I will show you now entry point. As you can see, the structure itself is okay. However, in the moment of a trade, it became like really rangy, wicky, compared even to this one, and even to this one. With some internal shifts to the upside, and the entry point was with no candle break. So let me show you entry point. So this is, as you can see, entry time frame is pretty fine. Like we have some down moves, but I was entering short basically from this move. And when the price was moving to the upside, and for me this is a sign of B quality automatically, because for A quality, for instance, I would have entered here, and as you can see, there was no entry, or at least I needed to see a slowdown in the zone. Yeah, so this was basically a technical mistake. So, and then the second trade you see here is not a trade, it's just an example I had for myself. Now let's look through the USD JPY trades. The bias from higher time frame is still the same, so we have bullish monthly, we have really bullish weekly. As you remember from the earlier outlooks, we have this weekly reaccumulation that started to build a structure and is now delivering to these highs. So these highs are still intact, and also the fundamentals is pretty bullish for USD JPY, because US now has like 5.5, I believe, interest rate, and Japan has a negative interest rates. So this is mainly what we have from fundamental perspective that is pushing the price up. However, now we might have a pause, or even so now it's all more mixed and data dependent, because as you will see in the second trade on USD JPY, any rumors, any news that JPY can rise their interest rates, it gives so much strength to the JPY, and sometimes the JPY is known for some interventions by its bank, so it can be that we will see some really rangy weeks in the future. But at the moment of a trade, what we had is a daily bullish structure, daily impulse to the downside. However, then the price started to move up, and what we have here is a usual pattern, of course, of reaccumulation, now confirmed on lower time frames, that is moving possibly to create a new high on daily. So again, with underlying bullish context, I was looking to take trades inside of this bullish leg, and as you can see, the structure, the chains are there. So we have move up, mitigation, and a move up. The argument against this trade, so the trade was here, is of course that we didn't reach the deeper zone, and we could do it because we could expect the market to do it, because we already had like almost 4 breaks to the upside, and probably this place was not so clean for entry to the upside. Again, it could work, but even on 15 minutes, so yeah, we had this on 30 minutes it's like this, 15 minutes the same, we have this overextended range, and yeah, it could work, but if we look at the pullback phase, it's really weaky and not clear. So first expectation when you have a market like this is just to continue or to move to deeper zones. I would say that, so let's look how 15 minutes look like. So you see 15 minutes at the moment of the entry. First of all, they had this recent bearish leg, and then something that is bullish but more reminds of a pullback. So if we had something like this in the moment of an entry, or even from here, it would be better. So 15 minutes, and by the way, 15 minutes now play even more role in my analysis, because I noticed that, and they are reflected in the qualities description, because if I have if I'm looking for a bullish trade and I have like 15 minutes bearish and 1 hour bearish, for me that's automatically a sign of early entry attempt and a sign of a lower quality trade. So what I want from my 15 minutes is something like this, or at least like this, but this one is kind of weird. And on 1 minute we started to develop bullish structure, so that's pretty okay, but yeah. And I guess yeah, I guess here I should have moved to break even, because the market is just it's just really weak. I understood that it could push to the upside more, because it started to build higher lows, you know, started to build this liquidity, and usually the market can just do something like this, but not this time. So I had just a loser, which could be a break even, and that's fine. And let's look at further development. So here the market went to the deepest zones of this 1 hour range, and let's see what it did here. It started to move even deeper, but actually never. So it broke technically here, but it mitigated this zone right below it. So that's still fine to consider it as just an absorption or fake breakout. And then the market started to move up here. Oops. To move up. Yeah, these are the news about possible change in the policy by Japan. So again, the market is bullish, just confirmed this reaccumulation, just did this reaccumulation, and so on. On 15 minutes, we had this overextended range into the zone, fractal shifts, internal structure shifts, and just breaking impulsively up. So if I would enter here or here, this would be definitely a winner. However, either I was not looking at it, or I don't know, I don't remember now, but my entry was here. And from the standpoint of entry time frame, this is really interesting. So this one so this was not an entry. From the standpoint of entry, this is great, because we didn't try to enter here, you know, when the things were really bearish. We even didn't try to enter like here, and this entry of course is much better compared to this one, because we already have some bullishness and now possible reaccumulation here. But at this time, reaccumulation is confirmed, and it is aligned with the models of higher time frames. So we are not only having confluence between time frames and between usual ranges, but we have confluence between the models. And we had clear moves to the upside. We had a build up here, and I was just looking for a break. I took an entry here, and it started to develop like really nicely. So this is something I was talking about in the previous trade. You see, when the price is just forming these higher lows and forming this liquidity, local liquidity, and then just takes it out. And the price actually almost reached to my take profit. And I was sitting here, I had my alarm at 3.5, so it reached 4.2, but and it was a great trade. I risked like 0.4%, and it would give me 2% profit. It would be just great trade. but I had to make a decision. You know, I had this feeling that I need to close it, but in the end I decided, you know, I have my statistics, this is my edge, like, and I had some doubts. I wanted to close here, but I didn't, and long term it was a good decision, you know. So I lost basically so-called loss, you see. They were not my money, but yeah, I could had some profit, and short term it would give me some satisfaction, but I don't know how it would affect me mentally. It would probably mean that I will be either overexcited or again attached to these profits outside of my system, and I know that it can accumulate as emotion and then play badly with me. So just on the news, this trade completely failed to break even. Yeah, and that's it for USD GPY for this week. Some other losers were just usual losers. Maybe some of them not the best quality, but overall they were the same. Maybe required a bit more confluence or a bit rangy on the entry time frame. And just to not make it too long, I will quickly review this winner from AUD/USD. So what we have is just pretty rangy market, you know. On daily we made some moves to the upside, but and then started a pullback, you know, started a pullback to unmitigated, possibly to these unmitigated zones, and I was trading this pullback. So again, if I'm entering on 1 minute, I can kind of ignore what's really happening on daily sometimes. If I have my 15 minutes, my 1 hour really clear, then why not to enter on 1 minute? I don't need too much space to move. And here I was basing my decisions on this portion of price action, which could be treated as, so here back and forth, and then down, possible local distribution, yeah, into a usual downtrend, into redistribution here, into a possible redistribution, into confirmed redistribution, and then once again possible redistribution, and now confirmed redistribution with this move to the downside. And this is my main range on 1 hour, and I was looking to take the price here or here. As you can see, my target was even higher. So yes, even with some bullishness on 4 hours, you know, reaccumulation, possible reaccumulation into the up move, I was still fine with entering it. 30 minutes basically the same as 1 hour, 15 minutes the same. So we have really big push, then pullback, took this liquidity and started to move down. So entry was here. And first entry, to be honest, I don't remember. First entry here is just a long. Maybe there was some fundamental reasons, I don't know, but then I just closed it basically at break even and entered short. Entered short based on this fractal shift, on this structural shift on 1 minute, and on recent downtrend on 1 minute with redistributions here. So as you can see, the same patterns, and then breaks to the downside with this leg, mitigates it, shows a reaction, shows a fractal shift of structure, and I enter here, protect here, and let's see how this trade developed. So it went to the downside. Let's see. So possibly somewhere here in this range I went to break even, and then just waited until either break even or target hit. And yeah, this was the trade basically. So this was my week. Again, really hard month, but I have a plan. I will continue to work on everything I need, and yeah, I hope I will not only manage my emotions better, but I will become a bit different and better trader overall. See you in the chats, in the YouTube, and here. Bye.